Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are here to present the citizens platform supporting refugees. It's a non-governmental organization which has already 2 years. The platform was created in the end of summer 2015. While there was a refugee crisis, I guess everybody heard about. At the moment, there were most of them refugees coming from Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan. And the Foreign Office was not able to take all the asylum requests. So people were just waiting in the garden right in front of the Foreign Office. And citizens from all Brussels, all Belgium, and all Europe gathered in this park to give these people to feed their basic needs. So at the moment, it was more about hosting in tents, feeding, giving clothes, basic medical aid, and that park stayed till the end of September 2015, and the platform went on with its citizen activities, supporting refugees till today. So on winter 2015-16. All those citizens moved to a building where they were able to go on taking care of this crisis in the first instance, and then while all the asylum seekers were going to the state centers and their asylum procedures were going on, we started volunteering more in a phase about integration. So if at the beginning it was all the basic needs, then it started to be helping people to prepare their interviews at the Foreign Office, helping them after they got their refugee status, helping them finding a job, a house, a school for the kids, to learn languages and to get integrated in Belgium. Since then, we've been working more in this context of integration with the refugees who obtained asylum or still waiting to obtain it in Belgium. So in our building in Jet, we have language courses for French, Flemish, and English. We have a space of social and administrative accompaniment, a school for children. And suddenly, in the end of summer 2016, we saw again the Maximilian Park receiving many refugees coming from the camp of Calais, which were dismantled in that year. So in this period, we went back to the basic needs, so distributing clothes, food, and now more recently, in the end of summer 2017, there started to be many police interventions, which happened very early in the morning. And all these people had to wait. They were waking up in the park, being surprised by the police, and they had to run away and to leave all their things behind them. So usually people used to leave their sleeping bag behind them, their bag, all the very little stuff that they had, even their shoes sometimes. And so citizens from all Belgium started to come in the morning to help these people while they wake up, to let them wake up in peace before the police arrived.
This is also the time when I became more active. Before I was supporting refugees as well, since 2015, but in Antwerp, a city farther from Brussels. But seeing the images on TV of the police intervention taking the people's tents, taking their belongings, just in an appalling way to try to get rid of them, trying to get rid of them with taking their material, taking their belongings. This was for me a strange thing happening in my country, in the heart of Europe. So that's also when I got more appalled. And in September, the State Secretary of Asylum, he posted a tweet saying that he cleaned up the park. So he cleaned it up from people. Later he said it wasn't people. He was just cleaning up the park. It was dirty. So I'm not sure if that was a better way to explain it, but in the meantime, it was the park wasn't a place that was unsafe at all. The families of the neighborhood, they were playing there, and with the refugees as well being there, it was no problem. But this was a message that was portrayed in the media as a big problem that needed to be solved.
So in this, especially in this moment when Theo Franken talked about cleaning the park, citizens reacted on social media saying that it's us, the citizens, cleaning the park by hosting all these refugees in their houses. So that's how it looks like. Every night in the park, the day we started, we proposed to the families to host refugees on their houses, because it was the only way to protect them from the police interventions. And on the first day, there was 8 people who were hosted in citizens' houses. On the second day, 11 people, and since a couple of months, every night, more than 450 people are hosted every day in citizens' houses, not only from Brussels, but from all Belgium.
It's also important to mention that this is actually in the Belgian law, that it's completely legal to house someone even if they don't have papers, since they are in a humanitarian situation, having no home, having no money. So then, according to the Belgian law, it's perfectly possible to give them clothes, to give them shelter, anything like this.
To transport them, to feed them. Hopefully, the solidarity is still legal in Belgium. It's not the reality of all Europe, as we know. In Italy, for example, in France, there is a délit de solidarité, something that makes you eventually go to prison if you're solidary with a human being. Today we can say that we don't have Theo Franken and Charles Michel. They were saying that it was hopefully we don't have a Calais in Brussels. We don't have a jungle in the heart of Europe. And if it doesn't happen, it's only thanks to the citizens who help these people every day, to not only hosting them in their places, because if at the beginning it was an emergency context and we asked people only for one night, you just come to the park at 8 p.m., you take them to your place, they have a shower, and in the morning after you go to work, they go to their lives and they will try to reach their dream, the UK. Today, hundreds of citizens all around Belgium, not only Belgian people from all Europe, they are helping these people to get access to the basic needs. So getting them to see a doctor, to see a lawyer, informing them about their rights, even if they don't want to stay in Belgium and to ask asylum here because of the Dublin procedure. Most part of them, they came from the Mediterranean Sea and they arrived to Italy, which makes that all of them had to get their fingerprints registered in Italy. So the Treaty of Dublin tells that if you're supposed to ask for asylum on the first country of entry in Europe. And we know how is the reality of refugees arriving every day on the Italian coasts. So it's impossible for Italy to take all those asylum seekers. And the Belgium state, as soon as one refugee tries to ask asylum here, if they have fingerprints in Italy, which is very probable, they will be sent back there. So right now they're just stranded here, and they really have no option where to go.
It's also important to mention that actually the Dublin Treaty has a special clause, the sovereignty clause, that makes it possible for any country to say, okay, we don't send them back to the first country of entrance, but we will handle their asylum claim in this country. But this is almost never used by Belgium. Belgium sends them back to their first country if they have fingerprints somewhere else.
The thing that we are asking today, and that citizens from all Belgium are sending to their political responsibles, the two things that we could ask was that what Bert just said, using their sovereignty to say that from this month we will not apply Dublin. So all the people who arrive to the Belgium territory from December, let's say, or from September to January, they will not be sent back to Italy, and give these people the opportunity to start building a life here. If they arrive here with the dream of going to England, they arrived here and they were persecuted by police. They were put in prison. Of course, they will not want to stay here. But suddenly, meeting Belgian families and being welcomed in people's houses with their children and their family and their intimity, many of them started to want to stay here and to build a life over here. Most part of them are teenagers. Most part of them have been starting high school, and they would like to go on and to start building a life here in peace. And it is possible. It would be legal if the government had the courage the political courage to take that decision.
The government mostly says that they don't want to claim asylum, but it is in fact true. Most of the people I have at my house, I'm hosting as well, they say they want to stay in Belgium. They just want a safe place, but they can't claim asylum here because Belgium will send them back to Italy. And almost, like we said, almost any refugee starts in Italy, so it's an impossible situation in Europe. For what is also important, I think, is for the people we host. They are, most importantly, they're just people. They're like you and me. They had a job. They like to laugh. Sometimes in their situation, there are some tears as well. But the most important thing is that they're just persons. And this is a spectacular acknowledgement that we see at the moment that we are hosting. We get in close contact with them. We are treating them as persons, and for one evening, they can just feel not being persecuted, just because they don't have papers, and they can feel like a normal human being for one night. So that's also the most important thing I think we can give them.
There is a website where someone gathered all the stories that citizens tell about their hosting experience, and what we can see today is that most part of the hosts they look like more thankful than the people they are helping. They all talk about learning about humanity, learning about different realities, different cultures. And if there's a lesson that all these months of experience could give to me, and I'm sure to Bert also, is that an example was one day we were organizing this hosting moment at the park, and there was a police intervention. And I was with other citizens who were there to host refugees, and I saw all those boys that I know their name, I know their story, their faces. I saw them being arrested by police, being violently put on the floor. And when it stopped, I went back to some of the boys who were not arrested on that moment, and I was very shocked. I was about to cry. I could not just go back to normality and go on saying how many are you, how many places to sleep do we have, and they looked at me and they started laughing. They just did like this, and they told me it's normal. It's like that.
That is their life. What is also an important factor, I think, because the people who host, most of the people who host are actually single women, but also families, also single men like me at the moment. So the families, what you see there is great. The children, they get to encounter a different experience, different culture, and in a normal way. So I think many of these hundreds of children in Belgium who get the experience of hosting a refugee now get an experience of their lifetime. They will carry it on for the rest of their life, and it will help clearing racism, I think, as well. What? Yeah, they learn English as well. We have a little boy here whose English is getting better every day. It's spectacular.
And that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.